So hello everyone again. My name is Katie Guerin. I am the Country Desk Officer for Senegal, and I cover a variety of other posts. In case anyone has trouble hearing me or gets knocked off the call or has to leave early, just as a reminder, I'll be recording the whole call and I'll make it available to you guys later, so that if you miss anything or if you want to listen back, you're more than welcome to. And for anyone that's not available on this call, they'll be able to watch it later. So just know that that's available for you if you need it. So again, we're going to have a pretty big agenda for today. We're going to talk a little bit, a reminder about the pre-departure expectations and those next steps that we've already been talking about a little bit, specifically quickly touching on the clearances and travel documents, but then also touching some of those other tasks. So just as a reminder, there's a variety of different activities that you guys should be working on, and hopefully a lot of them are already done. But just as a reminder, since we're a month out from leaving almost, yeah. Pretty exciting. And then I'll quickly discuss some of the staging information. So that's when you guys will arrive in Pennsylvania and Philly, and you'll meet me and some other people from Peace Corps, and you'll get to meet each other before you fly out. And then we have a variety of staff members from Post on the line, and they'll be there. They'll be on to talk to you for the majority of the call, and then we'll have some time for you guys to answer any questions that you have, either with me if it's about staging and pre-departure, and then if you have any questions for Post, they're here for you, so they're staying out late. It's actually already after work hours their time, so they're all staying after work to talk to you guys. So hopefully we can have a great conversation today. Just I haven't heard anyone write anything since I've started talking. Can someone just say, yes, you can hear me? Just perfect. I see people typing. That's great. Thank you. I have gone very far into a presentation without having anyone listen, so it's great to hear all of you. So these expectations shouldn't be new. I know we've told you guys these many times, but just as a reminder, as we get to this 1 month mark, I just want to let you guys know that you will be still hearing from a variety of offices if you haven't received your medical clearance yet, or you haven't received your legal clearance yet, or if there's still some complication with your passport and visa, you will be hearing from us. And if you've already finished all those things, hopefully you won't have to hear from anyone, but it's still possible that one of those offices will reach out to you if there's a problem. The office that most of you should have heard from by now, some of you will hear once you get all your clearances, will be the Office of Staging and Pre-Departure, and they're the ones that will give you the information about actually getting to Post. Jeremy, your question about visa and passport, yes, that is a good thing. If you haven't heard about your visa and passport, no news is good news for the visa and passports, which I know is terrifying, but I've already reached out to everyone that has not submitted their visa and passport application. So that means that we received it and that you're good to go. If you guys have any questions specifically about things like this, like if you're not sure where you stand on your visa and passport, if you're concerned about something, you can always reach out to me at senegal@peacecorps.gov. I just got back from vacation, so yesterday was my first day in the office. As some of you may know, I was then furloughed for a couple hours, so I didn't get to get any work done yesterday, and I am back now. So please feel free to send me an email. It might take me a day or two to get fully back into the swing of it, but I will be checking the emails every day. Great. Thanks, Brant, for the update. So those are the expectations from us that you should be hearing from us. And if you have any concerns, let us know. Expectations for you is we are a month away now. So when I call you, if anyone calls you, if you get an email from someone, please, please, please make sure you respond as quickly as possible. These questions are now pretty time sensitive for us. And so if there's a problem that we're having with your application, if we're having some problem with getting you to Post, we're going to be reaching out to you and trying to get you involved as soon as possible. But we need you guys to be diligently meeting your deadlines and returning our calls and emails. So that's our big expectation for you. And we really appreciate that you guys are working hard. I know you have a lot of other things to do as you're preparing to serve in Senegal. So just know that we want to help you get there as well. So responding is really helpful to us. Next steps. Most of you guys, we're going to quickly go through this in case there's any questions. The first next step that most of you, it seems, have gotten your legal clearance, but there's still a lot of you that have not. Do not worry. This is not abnormal. It is okay. We're working with the legal team now, but as you can imagine, we don't just work with within our agency to get your legal clearance. We work with the FBI, we work with OPM, we work with a variety of other agencies, and so sometimes there's some holdback on their end. And so just so you know, the legal clearance process does take a little while. And if they ask you if you want to change classes, please reach out to me if you're thinking of putting yourself on hold. I'd be happy to discuss with you individually about what that would really mean and what your likelihood is of clearing before staging happens. So I know it's really stressful to hear that you legally haven't been cleared, but please know that we're working with our teams and we usually have everyone clear in time to go. So it's terrifying, but we're with you. Completing your medical clearance process. I know there's still quite a few of you that haven't submitted all of your medical tasks. These are follow-up tasks, I know, and I know a lot of you guys are working with the pre-service nurses on this, and if you guys know you're running into a deadline or you know you're going to be delayed on something, please make sure you go to the medical applicant portal and work with your pre-service nurse on updating them about when you're going to have your tasks completed, because both your legal and medical clearances we have to get for you 5 days before you leave for post, which doesn't seem like a lot of time, but sometimes it gets right down to the wire, and we want to make sure we get as many of you to Senegal as we can. We already talked about the passport and visa application. No news is good news. I've already reached out to everyone that needs to submit one. If you still need to, please do. We need those as soon as possible. I'm going to respond to some quick questions that I've been seeing in here, so I'll get to those and then I'll continue along. Do we need to bring our other passport to staging? You do not need to bring your other passport to staging. You will be receiving your Peace Corps no-fee passport at staging, and once you are there, you will then be able to use your passport throughout your entire service and for 3 months after the end of your service. So if you think you might be traveling at the end of your service, it's fine. You can still use your Peace Corps passport to travel on. However, sometimes it is really nice to have a second form of identification with you. So if you don't have a driver's license, or if you know that your state is a state where the driver's license doesn't count as a valid a federal identification, it might be a really good idea to bring a passport. And that way we can keep that safe, but it's good to have a second identification in case you lose your passport. So there's that one. Janice, I received the informational itinerary for my trip to staging. Janice, I am not actually sure when each person's electronic ticketing gets done. You can respond back to our SATO travel team, and they'll be able to give you an update. I'm sorry that I don't really have that specific information for you because that's done on an individual basis. The informational itinerary should be enough for you to be able to do it, to get on the plane. But I would reach back out to our SATO travel team, and they should be able to help you. Feel free, if you're emailing them, to CC me on the email at senegal@peacecorps.gov, and I'd be happy to follow up in case they don't respond. But they're usually very quick to respond. So, yeah. Any questions so far, you guys? Any other questions before I continue on? So you can expect to hear about your medical clearance until pretty much 5 days before departure. At 5 days before, we have to have a final list. So if you think that you're going to be close to the deadline, I would highly recommend working with your pre-service nurse so that she can work with you on making sure that you clear in time and deciding whether or not that's possible. I know sometimes there's some really basic things that you can't get done, and that they've already said that they would clear you if you get that done, so I understand that that's sometimes the case. But please just make sure that you're working with the pre-service nurses, and yeah. So moving on to these other tasks, I want to remind you guys that you guys are all supposed to be uploading your updated resume and aspiration statement, and working on and emailing me a safe arrival email. So you can send me the name, 2 email addresses, so that when you arrive in country, you guys will probably not have internet connection when you arrive. And so when I hear from Post, from our staff in country, that you have arrived safely, I will email everyone with everyone's email addresses and say all the trainees have arrived safely in Senegal. So if you are interested in that, I would highly recommend it, so that your family knows that you have safely arrived. And I also remind them that you will have limited internet connection and phone access for your first few weeks, and then throughout your service you'll still be in a country where that will be very hard. So if you're interested in that, please feel free to send me 2 email addresses. And I'd be happy to email them when you arrive safely. And then if you want to also send me a photo of yourself, this really helps our staff in country prepare for your arrival. There's a lot of you, and so we want to make sure that they have an opportunity to try to get to know what you sort of look like, so have it be semi-professional. You don't have to pay for the photo, just take something that you'd be proud of having your staff in country see, but shows your entire face. Any questions about any of those things before I continue? So I am going to let somebody from Post actually answer that, because I know they have some internet for staff, but I'm actually not sure what the internet situation is for trainees. Victoria or Cheryl or somebody from Post, would you guys like to answer the question about whether or not there will be internet available readily at the training site in TS?
Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Make sure we haven't tested it. Okay, hi everyone, this is Victoria in Senegal. We'll introduce ourselves in a second. There is internet available for you all in Chess, although do not expect to be on Wi-Fi for at least the first couple days. It's not only is it super busy, but there's a training session we have to do on cybersecurity before we allow you to access the internet. So yes, there's internet readily available, but don't expect to be accessing it at all for the first couple days.
Thanks, Victoria. Appreciate it. Any other questions for now? Okay, so just as a reminder, I've sent out the guidance a couple times for the resume and aspiration statements, so please make sure that you guys are submitting that through the portal. If you have questions about how to do that, you're actually going into the portal that you applied through, not the portal that you are receiving all your new volunteer portal information through. So you're going to go back into where you applied, update your resume, or send your updated resume and your aspiration statement through there so that we can access them. If you have questions about that, feel free to email me, but we need you guys to do that as soon as possible. Yeah. And then please remember to send me a photo of yourself, some sort of headshot, and then 2 email addresses for your safe arrival emails to me at senegal@peacecorps.gov. A couple other things that we need you guys to do before you go is in the new volunteer portal, there's a couple activities that you need to complete in the My Tasks section. I need you guys to do this as soon as possible. There's a variety of documents that we need for you guys to go. So if you could do that in the next week or so, that will mean that we not only have your information correct in our systems, and this will really help us streamline some of our payment systems and things like that that we need before you leave. So please go into the new volunteer portal and complete your activities under the My Tasks section. And then if you will also go to Learning Space, which has core expectations, there's 2 different trainings, and there's the core expectations training and the safety and security pre-departure orientation training. Both of these are really helpful to prepare you for post and also to make sure that you are ready to serve in Senegal. So please make sure you're doing these. They're all really important, and they really make sure that we can have you prepared and totally administratively and training-wise have you prepared to serve in Senegal. So the most exciting part, this is what you guys have all been waiting for. February 26th, you get to all meet me. I'm kidding. You guys are all ready to go to Senegal, but you'll have to first meet me first. So in February, you will all get to meet me in Philadelphia with a couple other Peace Corps staff members. You'll also get to meet your entire cohort, which is very exciting. And you will be receiving information about how to get to Philadelphia through our staging team. So you'll receive an email from them. Usually it's staging@peacecorps.gov is the email address, so please make sure that you're checking your junk email if all of our emails are going to your junk. And just keep an eye out for them and respond to them as quickly as possible. As a reminder, talking about staging, we plan on we pay for your tickets to post, and we pay for your tickets to staging. So please do not buy your own ticket because we might not be able to reimburse you for the full price of what you paid. We have some deals that we get because we're part of the government. So if you spent $1,000 to get yourself from Washington State to Philadelphia, we might have been able to buy you a ticket for $300, and we'd only be able to reimburse you up to the $300. If you're planning on driving, we can reimburse you if you live more than 30 miles away and up to what we would have paid for a flight or what our gas mileage is. So please take that into consideration. If you are paying for your own way, please come with all the receipts necessary so we can reimburse you up to what we would pay. Just so you guys know, that's something that we're happy to do. And the reimbursement will get to your U.S. bank account, not to your local bank account. And so, just so you guys know, staging will be you'll be arriving. Some of you will be arriving the night before, and some of you will be arriving the day of. And then we'll fly, and then you guys will fly on the 27th to Senegal. Any questions? Oh, here we go. If there are public transportation fees incurred traveling to staging, can we get reimbursed? So, great question. When you arrive at staging, there's a lump sum of money we give you that include paying for any public transportation fees, taxis fees that you would have paid for, and food that you would have that you would need to pay for until you arrive at post. Some people, if they took the bus instead of a taxi, get to save more of that money, but it's really, we just want to give you a lump sum because having you guys keep receipts and us being able to reimburse you for those specific things is very tricky when we only have you with us for a day. So you do not need to keep your public transportation fees, but I would highly recommend knowing that we will cover some of your transportation. It's for some people it won't be all, depending on how expensive your transportation is. But because we've paid for your flight or your other travel, it will cover most of it, and your food. So, which is great. Any other questions about staging? You will not be coming to DC. You will be going straight to Philadelphia, and then you will be flying from, then you will be taking a bus together from Philadelphia to Senegal. There will be no food provided for you. We will be giving you money so that you can find dinner and breakfast and lunch on your own. Yeah, you will be in charge of finding your own food. I can't remember exactly what hotel we're staying in, but there is food around the hotel, so you should be able to find food there. And because we give you that lump sum of money, you should be able to pay for it yourself. Any other questions? It will pretty much be a half day of training, and then you'll leave the following morning. All good? Great. Moving on. Post. Let's see who we have from Post on the call. I heard Victoria already, but please feel free to start talking, Post.
All right. Hi, this is Victoria again. The Sherify, the country director, sends her regards. She unfortunately couldn't make it to the call today. but you'll be seeing plenty of her in a few weeks' time. So I want to firstly just thank you for attending. And we hope to see each and every one of you. I know there's some clearances pending, there's some other things pending. But we hope to see each and every one of you here in Senegal on the 28th of February. So we're going to be writing or I guess it's Katie, I thought that was just magic. So Katie's writing our titles and our names, and we're going to go around and introduce ourselves here. So my name is Victoria. I am the Deputy Director of Training and Staff Development, so you'll see me a lot whenever you come train, and especially during PST when you first arrive.
So, hi, hello everyone. My name is Nansen, and I'm one of the 3 programming and training specialists for the health sector.
Hi everybody, my name is Sheikh Jam. I am the PTS SED. The PTS means Programming and Training Specialist for the Community Economic Development Program.
Hello everyone, my name is Regina. I'm the Safety and Security Assistant of Peace Corps Senegal. We're looking forward to seeing you here all.
My name is Wissam. I'm one of the 4 PCMOs, Peace Corps medical officers, taking care of your health while being here in Senegal.
Hi, my name is Steffi Smith, and I'm the volunteer leader. So a 3rd year in. I will have been here for 3 years. Whenever you guys arrive, February 28th, for the Community and Economic Development sector, which we call SED here in Senegal, not CED. Just in case you guys are wondering.
And I have written all the names of everyone and their titles. There's lots of acronyms here in Peace Corps, so you'll just have to get used to it. But that's the names. And Regina Faye is the SNS assistant, not the assistant. So we know that you've already had a call, so we're not going to belabor what Peace Corps Senegal is. Just to say, you know, we've been here since 1963, uninterrupted. We pride ourselves on that and having a great relationship with the Senegalese government. It's a big post in Peace Corps. We're at about 216 volunteers. We have 4 sectors. In addition to your 2 sectors, we have agriculture and agroforestry. And we have 2 training inputs a year. So your training input obviously is health and SED. And then in September, we have agroforestry and agriculture input. We have a pretty large staff to support these volunteers. We have about 77, I think, people on staff here, Peace Corps Senegal, and we work all over the country. Right now we're expecting roughly 38 health volunteers and 34 SED, but that could change. So that's kind of what we're looking at this point. Maybe if I could just ask the APC or the PTSs, the Programming Training Specialists, to say just a few short words about your sectors.
Hi everyone. My name is Sheikh again. So I am just to give you a quick presentation for the SET program. So for your information, the SET program is reviewed the 2 last months in last October. So now we have a new LPF. And as you can hear, for Senegal, now we are working to help, our objective to help the household members, especially women and youth, to access for the, what we call it, security, economic security. And we already have 2 objectives. One of the first objective is to develop capacity for youth and women to practice entrepreneurship. And the second objective is to help also, again, women, especially the member of the women's group, to develop what we call it IGA, income generation activities. And maybe we don't have a lot of time to give you the whole presentation of the SET program, but you can understand that, especially in Senegal now, we are working to support household members, especially women and youth. And we are working to develop entrepreneurship capacity for youth and also for women's member on women's group. So, Steffi, if you wanted to add something.
Hi guys, Steffi again. So I think you guys are going to play a very big role in starting our new project. Shek mentioned our LPF, that's our Logical Project Framework, which is basically our goals, objectives, how we collect indicator data, and how we analyze that data to see the impact that we're having here in Senegal. So you guys will be part of that, and our big focus these next 7 years, it's for 7 years, will be on entrepreneurship for both women and youth, as Shek mentioned earlier. So get excited, you'll be the first people to pilot our new program framework. And I'll introduce them.
And now Iman is going to say a few things about the health program. Just a note, we wrote this in the comments, but we will answer all your questions at the end of this brief presentation.
Hi everyone, so I'm the PTS for Health, and like they said, we have now a new project framework basically focusing on capacity building and maternal and child health. So you guys will be the first stage to be trained on this new program. And you guys will be trained on pregnant women and newborn care. So just to talk about the sector in general, I think we'll get into details when you guys get here. We have about 60 volunteers and we have a team of 4 staff. So the APCD, who will be your supervisor, as well as 2 other PTS. So yes, I think you guys should just come and see what it looks like. It's a very, very exciting project. We'll be working a lot with the Ministry of Health, and most of you guys will be, actually all of you guys will be based now at the health post level. So you guys will be working a lot with pregnant women and making sure that their newborn are in great health. Here.
Okay, this is Victoria again. Thank you. Just a few words about what you can expect when you arrive. So we are expecting you on the 28th of February in the morning. And that is the first day of what we call PST, so pre-service training. It is a pretty intense period of time. It's 11 weeks, and it's a mix between days at our training center in a city called Chess, which is about 70 kilometers inland from Dakar. We have a beautiful center there. It's quite large. There's a lot of trees, and it's in a city, a smaller city here in Senegal. So that's where you'll be brought on the 28th, and you'll start your training. So training is a mix between about half and half between days at the center in Chess, with all of you there, and days in communities, not too far from Chess. That's our community-based training. PST is focused primarily on culture and language and getting you up to speed so that you can actually communicate and understand a little bit about this place. So, and then we do some tech training in PST, but the focus is largely on culture, language, and kind of Peace Corps policy and the way we operate. So that's a kind of quick rundown of who we are and what you can expect, at least at the very beginning. And we want to spend most of the time on questions. Wissam just reminded me about the weather that you can expect when you come here. Although that might be one of your questions. Right now it is quote-unquote cold season, in Senegal. I mean, people are downright, wearing wool jackets and gloves and hats. But for most of you, it won't feel too cold. It's in the daytime. It's what, in the 70s?
76.
76 right now. So pretty frigid, right? And then at night, it's in the 60s maybe. Dips into the 50s on rare occasions. Not even usually. So when you arrive, it's quite pleasant, but it will get hot very fast, and then some of you will be going to some of the hottest places on Earth. No, Backyard is one of the hottest places on Earth. It's really good. But okay, maybe that's a stretch, but very, very warm sites. So it is not the rainy season right now, so it's dry and quite pleasant when you arrive. I will say that at just a heads up, and then we'll open it to questions. That we do at the training center, we do have a dress code, and so it would be great if you can just keep that in mind when you are dressing for the plane and for when you arrive at TTC. It's the chest training center that we call TTC. And for women, that means it should cover the knee. Can you talk about the dress code?
So no spaghetti straps. Shirts should be at least 4 fingers in length. Below the knees, no bellies outside of your shirt. That's about it that I can think. So I'd recommend wearing a skirt or wearing just pants, and then a short sleeve or long sleeve shirt, whatever you prefer. But as long as you want, as long as possible, and with definitely no spaghetti straps. You will be called and asked to change if you are wearing spaghetti straps, so I just think about it before you have to go and do that.
Mm-hmm. And for boys, for men?
Oh, for men, no shorts as well. So I'm sorry, guys. It's a cultural thing in Senegal. Men don't wear shorts. Boys do, but men don't, so it's also applicable to the dress code. So pants all the time. It is required, I'm sure this will be a question, but it is allowed for you to wear sports clothing if you are doing sports. So for both men and women, that still means shorts beneath the knees. So women, if you don't have shorts that are long enough, then you can wear leggings and shorts on top of that. And still no spaghetti straps, wear just t-shirts.
Thank you. So now we'd like to open it up to questions. We already have one question from Karen, but please feel free. We're here to, we're here to help you. So this is a great forum. So please feel free to ask us any kind of question you want. We've heard it all pretty much.
Hello, this is Regina from the Safety and Security Office. I will answer to Karen's question about the Casamas area. So to say that if it will impact your service, I would say no, because right now in the Casamas area, Casamas is separated from Senegal by the Gambia. And if you see the map, you can see that it's far from the area where we have volunteers. We do have volunteers, so in the Ziguinchorville, like the Ziguinchor town, we have 3 volunteers there, but there are 2 third years and 1 volunteer response who live there. So they continued their work. It did not impact their work there when it happened. And they are continuing it, and we did not hear anything getting to them wrong. We do updates with them every week so that we see if the fights that are happening in the bush impacted them, but it's a no that we get from as an answer. So we continue their service in the Casamas area, but they do not go in the area where fights happen. So they just stay in the city of the Ziguinchor.
For the question about low-cut shirts, I wouldn't advise it. The reason why we have this, why we have the dress code in place is to kind of just to set a standard about professionalism and what we expect from you as professionals. And also, culturally, yes, you will see people wearing all kinds of things, okay? But it is most respectful to dress in a little bit conservatively, a little bit more conservatively than most of you might be accustomed to. And so that's the standard we set from the beginning at the training center. Will the training be? I'll answer training questions. Training is taught, so you'll be taught in English. All the training sessions will be in English. The trainings where you're all together. Your language training is obviously in the local language. You're going to be broken down into different local languages, and so you're not going to be able to understand the local language of your colleagues in training. So all of the trainings that we have together are in English. There is no French training either. We have decided at one point in time, Peace Corps Senegal did some training in French, but all of our sectors have determined that it's more effective. The work is more effective when when you're working in local languages.
So very briefly, if you come in with French experience, you might be placed in a site that requires that French experience. But apart from that, there are volunteers that live their whole service without speaking one lick of French. So don't be worried about the French if you don't speak French. If you already speak French, also don't be worried. You might or might not be using it. Though it is the local language, daily activities are mostly conducted in local languages.
The question about flying from the States, you'll fly into the new airport. There's a new airport that opened at the beginning of December, and it's outside of Dakar, and it's about 45 minutes from Chess. So we will pick you up there and take you to the training center.
Janice?
Capris are fine. Anything below the knee is usually fine. Where you'll be training. You'll realize once you're placed at your different sites what the customs of each site is. Some women opt to wear what's the word in English? A headscarf. If that is most appropriate to their sites. Other women tend to just be in t-shirts, and that's okay with their host families and their communities. Depending on where you're placed, you'll be able to understand through observation what is best for your specific case. But in Chess, we just keep that dress code to know what you're supposed to wear as a conservative and I guess across the board what would be best. Just the average typical volunteer should be dressing as. Yes, pants are a cultural norm for all over the country. It is very rare that you will see anyone above the age of 15 probably wear shorts, unless they're doing sports of that, exercising. You can buy almost anything you need here. We have markets that are called fukijais, or in Wolof they are, and you can find you can find anything from Lululemon leggings to Zara dresses and etc. And for a 100th fraction of a price. So I wouldn't be worried about the proper clothing. I recommend posting something on that Facebook group and asking volunteers what they thought was necessary, but apart from that, I really would not worry. I know volunteers that came in with 3 pants and 5 t-shirts, and that's all they needed to start off and kept buying clothes here. I know volunteers that came in with 2 full suitcases of clothes and never wore half of them. So I would really, 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 really encourage you to think about your wardrobe. Even if you're at a larger site, you can still buy clothes that are appropriate for being professional. If you're a SED volunteer, your site will most likely be larger than if you're a health volunteer. Some of your work will require you to go to the Chamber of Commerce or the Agency for the Promotion of Youth Employment, and even then you'd still be able to find Senegalese clothing that are appropriate and professional enough for those contexts. So I really would not worry about the clothes. I'm going to say this, and it probably won't be taken into consideration because it's the same every year, but I focus on bringing food and things that are very, very important to you. However, having said that, still post on that Facebook group things that are important to you to know whether you could buy them here. Your budget is short or smaller than you would usually get during training. Once you become a volunteer, you'll get enough money for, I promise you, almost everything you need. But I know of, for example, parents that have sent their kids spaghetti, and you can buy that in every single block in a regular boutique. So just ask those questions in the Facebook group so that you're not bringing items, either clothing or food, that is very, very rarely accessible here. It is a developing country, but it is very developed in certain aspects. Do not bring mosquito nets either. You will get those here. I know a lot of your parents are probably worried about it, so a lot of your basic needs you will get here. Just keep posting on that Facebook group.
Thank you. Katie, do you want to take that question about the roommate in Philadelphia? Okay, we'll keep going. You do have roommates though here once you when at the training center, and then when in your CBT site. No. Do we need to bring some cash with us upon entering the country? If so, how much?
So this is very dependent on how frugal or how not frugal you are. It'll be, I'll give you my personal experience. I brought about $250 in, and I spent most of it, but I spent most of it on spoiling myself. Buying food, buying snacks, buying things that weren't particularly necessary, but that helped me throughout training be more comfortable. What I would recommend is just to be a little more frugal in your staging. You will get money, and it's definitely enough money for you to save some. So saving some of that money would be enough for you to bring that in, just spend it when needed. I would recommend to bring at least $100, just because it helps be comfortable and buy snacks when you're accustoming yourself to the new diet.
At which point in the training will we be given our site? You're given your site the 5th week of training, so it'll be the end of March, the last week of March. We'll have a ceremony where we do site announcement. It's a much awaited event. You'll know what language you'll be speaking, what local language you'll be speaking the 2nd week during your training. So in some cases that can give you an indication of where you're going to be geographically. Sometimes it can be somewhat misleading. But regardless, you'll know your language very early on, and you'll know your site at the end of March. Do one of the PTSs want to answer Camille's question?
Okay. So the question, have we already been assigned to a site, or how will the decision be made on what local language on we? So Victoria, you already answered this question.
No, how are we?
So actually, when you guys arrive the first week, based on your French, you guys will be having a French LPI, and we'll be also doing interviews where we'll be asking you guys about, where you guys will want to go, what you are interested in, basically trying to get to know you. And at that point, we will, try to find a site. So it's really based on your French. We are also using your resume and aspiration statement to, to make a decision. And yes, And yeah, so yeah, you guys haven't been assigned to a site yet. We don't even know how many of you guys are coming yet, so not yet.
So, just to add something about the decision for the site, it's also based on some comment from the former PCV from your side. He can also give some recommendation about skills, about profile, something like. And we mix all the comment from to take the last decision of your site.
And we place most of the volunteers at the beginning, and then that's what decides what the local language that you will be speaking. But we also make some changes throughout based on us learning about your personality and what best fit would be to your community. So we keep learning about you and trying to make sure that you're best placed in a community that you'll be happiest, and also a community can take most advantage of you as a volunteer.
For Aaron's question, Katie's going to have to answer that one because that's at the DC level, the family handbook. So I don't know, Katie. We'll take note of these questions that we can't, that we don't answer on this end, and we'll make sure that she gets back to you about those if she can jump on. The preference for water filters.
Okay, hi guys, this is Dr. Wissam. So we do give you water filters. Each one of you will receive one water filter, so you don't have to bring any water filters with you. We have ceramic broken ceramic water filters, but those are one of the best water filters in the world. For the coffee press, yes, bring it. You will need the coffee press. Okay?
And good coffee is very hard to come by here, so that might be one of those special treats that you bring or you have people send to you.
Yes, as well.
Sorry, I'm not an expert in coffee because I don't drink coffee, but I know that volunteers bring a very small French press that you just put a little bit of coffee grains in and then wait 3 minutes and then press it down. So that I look into Amazon, there's some for about $20, I think, is what some volunteers spend. It might be a good recommendation. If you're not that into coffee, it's definitely not a necessity. There is, what's it called? Express made coffee. Well, like Nescafe.
Instant coffee. It's not very good.
It's not good at all, but it's coffee. It's not good. Okay, Amina. Okay, so do you suggest we buy clothes when we get there?
I'd bring enough for training, but you will, if you're someone who likes buying clothes, you will notice that once a week or once every 2 weeks or once a month, you'll be buying yourself fabric to turn into something. We have tailors here in Senegal. They're everywhere, even in the smallest villages. So you can tailor make any dress, pants, etc. Obviously, the quality will depend on the price, but you can get anything done here from $2 all the way up to $100 or more, I guess, if you're in Dakar. So I bring enough for training and then buy yourself more for after that.
Okay, was going to bring 1-2 credit cards for larger purchases, personal travel. They will expire where I'm going. Can I get a new credit card mailed to me there? I would not recommend that. I
know volunteers that have in the past, but it's definitely nerve-wracking to think that your credit card is in the mail here in Senegal and hasn't arrived to you. So I don't have an exact answer for that, but I have not once used my credit card here in Senegal, except for personal travel outside of Senegal. So I just keep that in mind. I know some volunteers like to treat themselves once in a while to a very nice vacation here in country, but on a regular basis, you won't be needing your personal funds. Peace Corps will give you enough to live adequately.
And seriously, I would not trust my credit cards into the mail service here. It might arrive, but probably will not arrive. So just keep that in mind.
And in very rare, in case of emergencies, I don't want you all freaking out, but there are services here like DHL and FedEx. They're super expensive, but quite trustworthy. And also, I know of volunteers who have sent them with a person coming to Senegal. So there are contingency plans. It's not like absolutely not, but I would plan against that. I would try to plan.
And that is something Victoria pointed out there. Because we're such a large post, we have so many people coming back and forth from the U.S. or Europe or et cetera, that we do tend to trust our fellow volunteers with a lot of those tasks. So you can always mail it, whatever this is, right? If it's a camera or a phone or a credit card, you can mail that to your fellow volunteers' address in the U.S. when they're traveling back, and then have them bring it to you in Senegal, and then figure out a way to get it to each other. So it's also an option.
Okay, so Jeremy, when it comes to food, are we to be primarily self-sufficient, or do we generally eat with our host families? So during the training, you'll be eating at the training center, and if you are in the training center, but if you are outside doing your CBT, it stands for community-based training. You're going to eat with your host family, so you are not relying on yourself to prepare food. However, once you be installed, you will have the choice. Either you eat with your family, or if you don't want, you can prepare food for yourself, or you can do both at the same time.
So breakfast is generally not provided by families anymore, by host families, or your site, your permanent site. I'm pretty sure you'll still receive yes, correct. You'll still receive breakfast during your training period.
Yeah.
But once you're at site, breakfast is provided by yourself. You'll get enough money for that as well. But then lunch tends to be shared with the host families. If there's a meal that is the most shared with is lunch, and then dinner volunteers either opt out or have their meals with their families. I personally ate the 3 meals with my family. I gave my family a contribution for my breakfast every week. So I ate with them every single meal. I know volunteers that have a lot more dietary restrictions, like being gluten-free or vegetarian or et cetera, that meant that they spent more time outside eating by themselves.
Okay. Second mosquito net.
Okay, I heard it is nice to pack a second mosquito net for traveling. For traveling where? Because when you arrive here at the training center, there will be a mosquito net already installed in the place where you're going to sleep. There will be another mosquito net that will be installed at your CBT. And right before you go to your permanent site, we'll give you a brand new treated with permethrin and good for 2 years mosquito net. Even if it breaks, there are holes on it, if you want it to be replaced, we can still replace it without any problem. So please do not bother yourself by bringing mosquito nets.
If you mean for traveling in country, they're also available at every pharmacy for $2. So you probably don't want to spend the 10 or 20 or, sorry, I have no idea how much mosquito nets are in America, dollars and bring it into your bag. It's probably better to just buy it here.
The only difference would be, and I totally agree with that, the only difference is if you're like wanting some special kind or if it folds in a special way. The ones that are sold here are great mosquito nets, trustworthy, cheap, but if you want something special, that would be something to bring from the U.S. because it's pretty standard what you're going to get here.
Okay.
Katie, go ahead.
When we get back to here.
No, it's Katie.
Okay, Katie, do you want to jump in?
Will we be counseled on in-country religious practices? Yes, definitely. And this will happen during the first week. How will the practice of our own customs be received? I think that, you know, we're going to discuss this in much greater depth, but there is quite a lot of religious tolerance here. And, you know, as opposed to answering all the specific questions, I'd rather us, you know, enter in that discussion when you come to PST. But I think, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, you guys. That I guess I've been trying to talk for a while, but I'll start again. So just quick two things that I wanted to hit on that I wasn't able to talk at before for the hotels in Philadelphia. I just want to remind you guys. I think it should be in the guidance from staging, but you are expected to sleep in the hotel that we have you in, and you cannot have additional guests in your room, even if you do not have a roommate. If you have family or somebody else that wants to pay to stay in the same hotel and have you stay in their room, that is fine. But you have to let us know. But otherwise, we expect you to be in the hotel room with no additional guests. Just to let you guys know for the hotel, you should all plan on having a roommate. It'll just be one. It'll just be two of you per room. And then the other question that I know that you guys asked that I wasn't able to answer, what was it? Roommate, and then do you guys remember what the other question was? Sorry, I had to rejoin the conversation. Information for families. Yes. The friends and families. There we go. The friends and families letter will be sent out exactly at 1 month before departure. So it'll be coming out later this week. It's just 2 pages pretty much of just basic information of if there's a family emergency and they're unable to get in contact with you, who they can reach out to, kind of giving them some basic information of how to join the Facebook and other friends and families organizations for people with currently serving volunteers. And then you're welcome to share that with whoever you want. So sorry again that I wasn't able to talk before, but hopefully that answers those 2 questions for you guys.
Okay, thanks. We only have 1 minute now, so just going through very quickly. Jeremy, any site where French is the main language? The answer is no. Most of the languages used are the local languages. Some use French, but mostly they use local languages. Nicholas, is it possible to receive any training? I don't know. Victoria?
We don't typically send out training or reading materials from our end. You know, we'd encourage you to do some research. We have a reading list that we're discussing perhaps sending out, but it's just general. It would just be kind of general information.
You'll receive enough training during your PST, so don't worry about it. Rest right now and spend time with your family, which is most important.
Yeah. Okay, so for the next 2 questions, camp stoves and headlamp tent, external battery. Guys, I would highly recommend you to go and discuss in the Facebook group. They will give you more information that we can give you in here. Okay, so where are you going to be living during the PST? Okay, so either during the training in the training center, you'll be hosted at the training center itself. It has beds and everything, and with the host families, there will be rooms prepared for you.
So just to be clear, during the PST, it's about half and half between living at the center and living at the homestays. So we'll train you up, you know, for about a week, and then you go to the homestay. We kind of gradually introduce you to the homestays. So it's pretty much back and forth between the center and the homestays.
Okay.
For the credit card, you'll receive a debit card here, so you don't need to bring one. I'd recommend having one just for your readjustment allowance when you're going back to America. But here in Senegal, you will not need one. You will receive one from our card.
Okay, so Barb, again, sunscreen, bug spray, we will give you this. Multivitamins will give you this. Probably should I bring those? Do not bring. What kind of malaria meds will be provided? So 3 kinds of malaria we propose here. You have the Malarone, the Mefloquine, or the Doxy. You, not us, will choose which one you want to be on.
And you'll get information about that during the first week as well. You'll get Doxy unless you have any other medical conditions. When you get on the bus is the first thing that they medical officers would give to you, and then you'll give a packet of information that discusses every single medication. So you'll be able to make that decision with your PCMO.
Yeah, it's up to you again. We do not decide for you, you decide, but the only thing that we require from you is that you take your medication. That's the only requirement. But you have 3 choices, again, Malarone, Mefloquine, or Doxy.
Okay. We're sorry that was such a whirlwind at the end. But I think our time is up, and we don't want to hold you all for longer than you need to be here. So thank you so much for attending. We are available to answer any questions that you're still thinking of, and we very much look forward to meeting you all in a little bit more than a month. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Good luck.
Thank you, everybody.